Hey BookTube, it's Jackie. How's it going? If you are new to me and it's the first time you're seeing my face, hello, what's up? My name is Jackie. I sit on my floor and talk about books. So I hope that's why you're here, because that's what's going to be happening today. If you're not new to me, thank you for always tuning in and continued support. I really do appreciate it. So today for you, I have my weekly wrap up. This is from August 21st through August 27th and all my reading shenanigans in between. So I don't have a lot to talk about today, but what I do have to talk about is pretty interesting. So without further ado, grab yourself a drink, have yourself a seat, and let's get talking some books. Okay. So, this week was really busy for me. I did not get as much reading done as I would have liked because I had not one, not two, not three, but four softball games back to back. Two of them were away, so we had to travel for them, and the other two were home. And then one of those home games was my daughter's 8th grade night, so she got to be celebrated and announced, and then the whole team went out for food afterwards, so it was a really, really long night. So I did not get as much reading done as I would have liked, but I did enjoy everything that I read this month. Or this month. Yeah. This week. Sorry, this week. Month wrap up is next week. So, first thing I completed was Kendall Ryan's Playing for Keeps, and it looks like this. This is the first installment to the Hot Jocks series. I was feeling kind of a sports romance, and this is the one that popped up and seemed the most interesting to me at the time. It was an audiobook done by Jason Clark and Virginia Rose. First experience with both of those narrators, had no issue with them, really enjoyed them. Jason Clark's voice is on point. Really liked his voice a lot. Really, really liked it. This is a hockey romance. Yes, I know I'm not in hockey season and I'm wearing a football jersey right now, but that's what it is, guys. That's the book I chose. Don't judge me. All right. It also demonstrates the miscommunication trope, friends to lovers, and we have a first-time experience in this book. So, brief synopsis about this book. It follows Elise and Justin. Elise is the little sister of Owen, and Owen is Justin's best friend, and of course, you know, little sisters are off limits to best friends, but it's even more because Owen is Justin's teammate. So Elise is not only off limits to Justin, she's off limits to the entirety of the team. Now, however, Justin has grown up with Owen and Elise. He is their childhood best friends. Elise is almost like a little sister of Justin in a sense, except when Justin went pro, he started developing feelings for Elise, and Elise has had a crush on Justin since she was 13. So we have a very long-standing friendship here, and a very long-standing crush on both sides, to playing an effect with this friends to lovers trope. However, one drunken night after the Seattle IceHawks, that's the hockey team that's featured in this book, wins the state championship, or wins the championship. I don't know if it's just state, but he wins the championship. Justin gets really drunk and Elise gets really drunk, and Justin breaks the cardinal rule and kisses Elise, and it just starts to unfold from there. Now, okay, so they have a one-night stand, big whoop, except it's what Justin does the next morning that really sets the story off. You see, Justin, instead of just saying, hey, this happened, we should probably talk, he doesn't. He pretends he doesn't even realize it. Like, he pretends it doesn't even happen. That she just fell asleep in his bed. Elise, feeling completely deflated, decides to not embarrass herself even more, and just decides to let him believe his little lie that it never happened. Except that's a big, hard thing for Elise to do because that was Elise's first time. So not only does she not want to embarrass herself, she also doesn't want to acknowledge that she just gave up her V card at the drop of a hat to her brother's best friend on a drunken night. Lot of feelings there. So that's where our story really starts off, and then of course things ensue, and we start to see this romance kind of formulate throughout the story. Now, what works in this book to me is the humor that Kendall Ryan put in this book. She's got some steamy scenes, but the humor that she interjects between these scenes and just the humor that she involves with the secrecy that Justin and Elise are trying to have a relationship, but it's very, very secretive because eventually conversation happens. This lack of communication, this miscommunication group is not just, they're not understanding each other, it's a blatant lack of communication. They're just not talking. In the beginning of the book, they're not talking. And then they finally have a talk and things work out. And then they don't want to talk later on because they don't want to end this nice little bubble that they live in. They want to pop it, but yeah, they have to talk. So the miscommunication trope is actually not a miscommunication trope. It's just a lack of communication. They just don't fucking want to talk because they're so scared of pissing each other off or destroying what they have, or I don't know, possibly being extremely fucking happy. So the humor that Kendall Ryan interjects within that scope of lack of communication, and it was just, oh, I was laughing my butt off. There was one scene where Elise is texting her girlfriend, and her girlfriend says, hey, do you need anything? And she says, yeah, I need tampons. Except her girlfriend didn't ask her that. It was Justin's text message thread, and she mixed it up. So Justin says, okay, what kind do you need? And then it progresses to, is there an applicator needed? What kind of flow are we talking about? It just pursues from that. And it was just, God, it was hilarious. That was one of the funniest scenes in this book. And it was great. It made me laugh so fucking hard because I could just imagine this 6'2" hockey player in the feminine hygiene aisle trying to figure out what kind of tampons to buy, which I think is hilarious when guys do that for girls. Anyway, I think it's super sweet. Like, you rock on, dudes that do that. Good for you. Good on you. But it's still fucking funny because there is a lot of options. And I don't think guys realize how many options there are. It's a preference, okay? There's a preference. And it was a very great scene. I laughed my butt off with it. It was funny. It was great. I also liked the fact that the team was constantly putting bets on things and just how the things they were betting on, and when it came to fruition, like, oh, you owe me money. And you're like, you took a bet on that? I did see the bets coming up, but they pop up throughout the book, and it's great. Kendall Ryan definitely had fun with this scenario that she wrote. Yes, there is some drama. Yes, there is some, tense feelings, but they're not so tense and so dramatic that you're just like, oh my God, this is like a soap opera. It was a very fun, sweet, it was a good time. It was a very, very good time. However, there were things about this book that I think didn't work. The miscommunication trope. I normally don't have an issue with miscommunication tropes because that's relationships. Not many people want to talk about shit because it is too hard or it's scary. So a miscommunication trope in a romance book is not something that's like, oh God, it's fucking annoying. But in this case, the direct lack of communication pissed me off. It's just like, you're not even gonna say a fucking word about it. Like, I can tolerate them, the not actually being clear and articulate, but you're just blatantly not saying anything. And Justin broke the cardinal rule. You don't fucking act like the shit didn't happen. Like, are you serious? And then when he discovered the blood in his sheets, realizing that it was her first fucking time, you're a dick, dude. You're a dick that you didn't actually be like, okay, I gotta man up and say something. I gotta say something. Like, no, you waited 3 fucking months for that conversation. 3 months. Are you serious? You are a forward on a hockey team, and you're gonna wait 3 months to tell a girl, dude, I'm a dick for that, sorry? What the fuck? Come on. Man. So the complete blatant lack of communication, the times that there was lack of communication kind of irked me, just because I was like, that's such a dick thing to do. Such a dick move. But in the same vein, Kendall Ryan writes it into the book and has him in his own inner monologue saying, yeah, this is kind of a dick thing to do. I'm a fucking coward. Yep. I'm kind of useless. Like, she writes it into his character. So a little on that. But it did work, but it didn't really work for me. I kind of wish he would have been more of a man about things, because I liked him. I liked his character, but then he did that. I was like, damn, that's just cold. That's cold. There were multiple coitus interruptuses in this book. And when I mean multiple, there was like, I can name 3 off the top of my head right now, and I think there was more. I don't like that. And we're not talking about like, you know, just random start. You know, like we're talking full on, there is actually about to happen a fucking knock on the door. And you're like, God, are you fucking serious? Because they're trying to be secretive. So of course they have to fucking stop. But again, that's still annoying. That's just, man. I felt both of their pains in that, because the sex scenes were great in this book. They were fantastic. But the fucking knocks on the doors, phone calls happening. Who answers their phone during sex? Seriously. I'm just like, really? You're gonna stop to check your fucking, man. Priorities, man. Just saying. The last thing that didn't work was the self-fulfilling prophecy of Justin. I said earlier that Justin, in his inner monologues, you know, admitted that he was a coward, that he couldn't talk to her, he couldn't tell Owen about her when things started actually happening, he had to keep it a secret. This started becoming more of a self-fulfilling prophecy, and then when the big moment happens towards the end of the book, it just pissed me off, because it's like, you literally talked yourself into this. And you didn't fucking have to. There was nothing wrong. You're just fulfilling your own prophecy that you are worthless, you don't deserve this, you don't deserve to be happy, you fuck up everything you touch. And it's multiple times in the book that he says that everything he touches, he messes up, except on the ice. That's the only time where he doesn't mess up. And I'm just like, I don't like that. I think it's annoying. I think it's annoying of characters, and it shows, it's a very weak thing in characters that I find, and I just don't tend to like it very much. So when it actually, this self-fulfilling prophecy came about, I was like, oh, great. Yay, we actually went through that. That's awesome. Fantastic. Can we move on now? But props to Elise. Kendall Ryan wrote Elise as kind of like a Spitfire, and she was not tolerant in that shit at all, so props to her on that. The sex scenes, like I said, they were fantastic. I gave them a 3 chili pepper. There wasn't really a lot of, you know, there's no kink to it. It's all pretty much straight vanilla. But they were intense. There was some build up there. Also, when you have multiple coitus interruptus, when you finally have the actual fucking scene, it's great, because you had all these other fucking interruptuses, and it just sucks. So when you get that big scene, it's well worth it. It's well worth the wait for it. However, the sex scenes that we do have are really very sweet and intimate. The graphicness of them, I would say, like, is, if I was gonna rate it like a movie rating, it's like a rated R. Like, you're seeing it, but you're not really in it. It's not nowhere near like actual porn smut level. This is just, yes, they used, you know, some dirty talk, but it wasn't to the degree of like, this is a smut book. Very intimate, very sweet. And something that Kendall Ryan did that I really thought was unique was the first encounter. We're talking the very, very first time, the virgin scene. We don't actually see it. We only hear about it. We see the kiss, and then we see the aftermath, which starts our story off. But we eventually learn about it through the internal monologues and them remembering these moments. So you're not getting that full scene start to finish. You're getting it in pieces. And it was really cool. So when the first full sex scene that you actually see, they get to remember the first time, and then this first time when they're both like cohesive, and it's brought out to the forefront. And I thought that was really unique and cool that she did that. I really enjoyed that aspect of the book, because when I first was reading, I'm like, am I not going to see the sex scene? Are you serious? Like, this sucks. How are you going to do a fade to black scene in the very beginning of the fucking book? Like, really? But then she started giving me little bits of it, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then the big, you know, final moment happens, and it was great. It was fantastic. I thought it was definitely worth the wait, especially when I had all those little bits and pieces ahead of time. So it made for the multiple coitus interruptions, you know, kind of more digestible. But yeah, all in all, I gave this book a 3-star. I do plan on continuing with the rest of the series. I don't know how many books in a series. I think there's like 5 or 6, I think. So yeah, but good time. And the last book the only other book I read this week was this guy, Touch of Malice by Scarlett St. Clair. 5 stars. Right off the top, I'm just gonna tell you 5 stars. I loved it. This is the 3rd installment to the Touch of Darkness series. This is Persephone's perspective of this story. And okay, let me just I'm not okay. I'm not fine. And I don't want to wait till I think September is when Touch of Chaos comes out. Because I believe in January or February, Game of Gods comes out, which is Hades' perspective of this book, which is just Hades' perspective of this book. So I have to relive all of this shit again. Just from his point of view, which is fine because this book is excellent. There were so many good moments, and there's so many moments that I really want to know what Hades was fucking doing. And there's a big moment here which I really want to see his perspective of, because I bet that's going to be fucking fire. But the ending of his book, I have to wait till September of next year to find out what happens. And I'm not okay. I'm not fine. I'm not happy right now. I'm not happy at all. I was told this ended sad. There was a lot of good moments in this book. There was a lot of the fuck moments in this book. But if you are not familiar with this series, I can't really go into too much detail of this because this is the 3rd installment, but this whole series follows Hades and Persephone as a Hades and Persephone retelling, and this is Hades and Persephone's story from Persephone's perspective. Persephone is the daughter of Demeter, and she was kind of hidden away for years and then finally was released. She finally convinced her mother, Demeter, who is the goddess of the hearth, how do you say that word? To be let out. And she lives in the mortal realm. She doesn't really have any powers because she's never had to use any. But then she encounters Hades, and Hades finds out that she is his fate, his destiny. That is his fated wife. The fates have deemed it, and Demeter fucking hates this. And this whole series is they're building their relationship, fighting for their relationship, and just dealing with all the external bullshit that goes on, instead of just letting the two of them just love each other and fuck like bunnies, because these sex scenes are fucking amazing. And they don't stop in this book either. These scenes are, I think probably this book has more sex than the other installments of the series. I'm pretty sure that this one probably has the majority of sex scenes, and this was great. And I loved Persephone in this. I used to think Persephone was whiny. I was that person. And I don't think she's whiny after reading this book, like, at all. Scarlett St. Clair wrote an author's note in Game of Retribution, which is Hades' perspective of A Touch of Ruin, and said, you know, she hates that people always hate on Persephone because Persephone is this kind of badass. Well, you finally fucking see it in this book. She is taking no fucking prisoners. She is, she's a bad bitch. And I love her. I'm here for her. She just won my heart in this book. I was like, yes, yes. So I know Hades' interpretation of this book is going to be, I just feel it's going to be very snarky, very sarcastic, and very, very angry. And I'm down for it. I'm going to see the darkness of Hades because I've already seen the darkness of Persephone in this. Like, yes, we are seeing the Persephone, the darkness that this whole series, we're seeing it. And it is fucking fantastic, and I love it. And I cannot wait till September to get A Touch of Chaos, which is Hades and Persephone dual perspective in the same book, which is the conclusion, I believe, of this entirety of these two series, the Hades version and the Persephone's version. So yeah, pins and needles, people, pins and needles, because I need to know, because where Hades at is right now, I'm not fucking happy about it. I'm not okay. I finished this book and I put it down and I immediately just said, I'm not fucking okay. The My Chemical Romance song, I'm not okay, is, I'm not, and you stress this. Not okay. And the fact that I have to relive it all over again when I read Hades' book makes me even less happy. But guess what? I'm gonna fucking do it anyway, because it's Hades and Persephone and, you know, slightly masochistic. So, yay, go me. But yes, so I had a 5-star and a 3-star this week. That is all I have for you guys this week. That's what I read. Definitely 2 series. I'm going to continue. Of course, I'm going to continue this. And of course, I definitely want to continue the Hot Jock series because I had a good time with it. All in all, dark, painful, angsty, and Kendall Ryan's book was a nice little uplifting, fun HEA, and it was a good time. It was a good time. So that's all I got for you guys today. I will see you guys all soon with another video.